This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to Tough Talk Tonight. As always, I'm your host, Lucas Biggers. Alongside me, we got Sakura, we got Rob. How's it going, guys?
I'm back in the game again. I'm feeling better.
Great to have you back. Back feeling better. Rob, you're in Florida too now. How's it treating you out there, buddy?
Man, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Shout out to my cousin. It's his wedding. I'm down here for his wedding this week. So shout out to my cousin. I won't name names.
Congratulations, cuz.
I second that. All right. Let's get underway. This seemed to me like more of a layover type weekend until another big fight, which we're talking about with Haney and Lomachenko, but it ended up turning into a pretty good weekend for boxing, minus some controversy, but at least good boxing news and a lot to talk about. So let's jump right into it, guys. First, I want to talk Kenneth Sims Jr. We've had him on the show before, Chicago fighter. I'm sure Rob, me and you've seen him fight live. No surprise there, but he did win an all-out war against Akhmedov. How impressed were you? One, at the end of the fight, because he had a closed eye pretty much completely. He just did not give no damn, and he's ready for the top fighters in the division. Let's hear what your thoughts are, Rob. How proud are you?
I mean, he's gotten robbed. You could argue and say he's gotten robbed in all of his losses that he's had throughout his career. So I thought it felt good to me that he was able to get the decision on this one. It was a war, but I was impressed because he was poised. He stayed poised, and he's a guy too that usually shows great power in the ring, and he threw some great shots at him. But Akhmedov wouldn't go down. He wouldn't go down. It was a crazy fight to me. It was a good fight. It kind of stole the night, in my opinion. It really did steal the night. And it was a great win for Kenneth Sims Jr. I didn't think there was controversy at the end. I thought his opponent said it best. I should have knocked him out if I wanted to win the fight.
I think that's something that you say a lot on the show. So, I mean, it fits. It's definitely a Robism, as I would say. But there's no denying that both these guys went to war. But, I mean, you've seen a Sims clear victory. It was a very close fight. I mean, I had it pretty much the same as the judges, 115, 113. It was a majority, right? Somebody had it a draw?
Somebody had it a draw, yeah.
Okay. How did you see it, Sakura?
Oh, it was beautiful boxing, and I really can agree. I think that should have been the main event, and possibly should have been the title shot. Like that's the two guys that showed, that they belonged on that caliber of a level, unequivocally. I liked Kenneth Sims Jr.'s ability to mix it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's one of those boxers that's very he's underestimated for sure. And they underestimate his power a lot. Because he now is like, showing that, hey, I got some pop here. I also was able to see his last fight that was in Orlando. Well, first of all, I saw one in December that was in Las Vegas. That was a W, and it was by uppercut. And then the one I saw previous to that, I think it was like October, and we were in Orlando. And that's when he won the WBC Intercontinental title. And it was also a stoppage by, it was a knockout. It was also an uppercut. So I had seen him display some power that we hadn't seen him prior to that really, be able to just lay somebody out with one punch. But he definitely has that kind of power, even though Akhmedov was the guy that was supposed to be known for more power. And yeah, he had heart. He showed that, he outboxed the guy. You know, it's more to it than just, you know, the power. It's like he really showed that he outboxed the guy, and I was super happy that the judges decided to reward that slick boxing style too.
For sure. And I mean, I had flashbacks of Bradley Providnikov in this. They were just going back
Yeah.
and forth like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that they could have, you know, gave Akhmedov a little bit more credit for the body work he was putting in. But at the same time, man, I just love the back and forth, and I love Kenny Sims Jr. ability to come in when he wanted to, go out. Like it was so obvious he was controlling the pace, controlling what type of fight was happening. It was one time where he started showing signs that he was tired, but then he picked it back up in the later rounds. So his stamina has gotten, you know, better too. We saw that on display.
Okay. For his doubters, Rob, would you say that he's going to be able to compete with the top of the division?
Again, I felt like all the losses that he's had in his career were questionable. He very well could be undefeated right now. And a couple of upsets that he could have pulled off, should have pulled off, that didn't go his way. I think he's you know, if he's not ready yet, he's inching closer, because this is the type of fight that you wanted to see him in, and you wanted to see him prevail. He might need another one of these, you know, before he gets to that top level, but he's inching very close, very close.
I gotta disagree with you on that. I think he's ready. I think he's shown he's ready, and he's had multiple fight wins back to back at this point, including Elvis Rodriguez on his record as a win. I don't see what more he needs to prove that he is one of the top contenders at this point in that division. And I mean like top 5.
Yeah, against the big names when it comes down to decisions, it looks like he's cutting it close. The Elvis had a majority decision, and then Akhmedov, he had a majority decision as well. So what would you guys say he needs to do to kind of separate himself, especially when he goes into those elite type fights where, you know, you're going to have to make that bigger statement? What was he doing wrong, or what can he improve upon?
I think sometimes. Oh, go ahead. I sometimes think that people. I think it's more about names and the fact that he's not like that guy that's gonna shit talk and, you know, give a lot of drama like a Romero will do. And I think sometimes people take that, the boxing fans take that for granted, that means that you're not that guy inside the ring. If anything, I just think it's more, it's nothing that he has left to do in the ring per se, other than not allow people to bait him into their fight. Because I don't know if you guys noticed at the when they did the post interview, he was mentioning that he said, "Oh, they thought that I was going to be slick and I was going to, you know, run around the ring and this and that." It's like, yeah, but you could have made the fight a lot easier if you had stuck to your type of fight instead of engaging sometimes into what is more of his opponent's style of fight. Because he didn't have to be in the pocket like that or trade, you know, taking that risk when we saw that he did have the ability to just outbox him. So I think it's more to do with like marketability and, you know, him not being that showman type, you know, trash talker as far as fans. But I mean, if you got true boxing fans, of course they're gonna love him just from seeing, you know, the caliber of skills he has and the increased power that he's been displaying lately.
Okay. So you would think that Sims kind of allowed Akhmedov in a lot of the times just to make it be a better fight, at least, you know, for viewership, so he can draw in more fans?
Well, yeah, I do kind of feel like, you know, he was getting in the pocket more than he had to, because he has a beautiful stance and a beautiful jab, and he knows how to use that. But Akhmedov, he is. I don't want to downplay Akhmedov and his ability to be that dog too, where he's like constant pressure. So, I mean, I do think in certain exchanges, yeah, he didn't have to be in the pocket. But that's a route that he chose to do to prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah, I mean, and like you were saying earlier, you got to give props to Kenneth Sims Jr. He gave all the respect to Akhmedov. Said that Akhmedov should have been undefeated as well. So it's hard to not like a guy like Kenneth Sims Jr. Of course, he has the documentary out. If you haven't seen that, you got to watch it. All right.
Yeah, I mean,
I haven't seen it. I gotta watch it.
It's on Showtime.
Only counter I would add to that is I think he could fight like that in the pocket if he showed more power. You know, I think if he shows more power, get these guys out of there. Yeah, it's a tough fight. It's a warrior out there on the other side. I get it, but to me, that you come out, he wants to be at elite level and the top level. You got to find a way to try to at least try and knock one of these guys down to where you make it more of a decisive decision, where you don't have a majority split or draw, anything like that, or put yourself in a position to possibly lose on points.
Yeah, the eye closing is a blatant issue there. I mean, I don't know if he was allowing him in as much as he would, but he definitely isn't allowing him to just punch him like that. He did get hit still quite a bit, so I'd like to see him tighten up on some defensive issues, or just work on the feet. You know, stay on the outside. Don't let an Akhmedov on the inside. But again, he may have been doing that on purpose. So you got to draw your fans in, and he definitely had a show. I mean, I think you guys will agree it's a Fight of the Year candidate. No?
Yeah, for competitiveness, I think so.
All right, let's that was the star of that card. Now let's go to the crap. Romero and his horrible stoppage win over Barroso. Where do we begin?
Well, I think you're gonna get a couple of us, me and Shakur. I think you're gonna get us kind of come at you on this one. I think we disagree if I'm right. I don't want to put words in Shakur's mouth, but I think we both kind of disagree with you on this because I agree with the stoppage. I agree for a different reason. I felt like in certain rounds throughout that fight that Barbosa looked spent. He looked horrible, actually, I felt, in coming into a couple of those rounds. Yeah, you don't want to stop it prematurely when there's action involved. I think that's the issue everybody has, is because they felt like there still was action and an opportunity for him to return fire. So I understand that. But we've had Tony Weeks on the show before. He's a glorified referee in there. We don't know what he saw. We don't. I saw a glimpse of Barroso looking spent, looking bad, looking horrible. I don't know if he saw that leading up to that round two, and he just had enough.
But I've seen instances of Romero looking pretty bad. I mean, it really was for me. I didn't see one fighter really too much worse than the other. And I know I texted to you live because we have a little group chat, obviously, outside of
no, Lucas, you went on a rant live. You went on a rant.
I didn't do it live. I mean, I'm not on the internet running it, but let's rewind here. So on the group chat immediately, I said one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen. I didn't look at anything else. All I did was talk to you guys, right? Since then, I have seen many others that agree. I am definitely not the only one. If anything, I think the people who are saying it's not a bad stoppage is in the minority. Not only are they saying that it's a bad stoppage, it's one of the worst of all time. Now, again, this is Tony Weeks. I'm not disrespecting Tony Weeks at all. Everybody has a bad day at work, okay? It happens. I'm not saying that he's doing anything nefarious, but I think even him would agree at this current point in time that it was probably a bad stoppage. He could have probably let it go on a little bit longer. I don't want to put words in his mouth, but we've all seen Tony Weeks let action continue, right? He's known for that. He's known for that.
So if he doesn't allow something to continue, do you not believe that he saw something something that we could not see?
Well, that's why I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt. However, he's also not a doctor, right? And this was far from Barroso's in trouble. We are far from that, okay? And in boxing, me and you and Rob, we talked about this too. There is such thing as being too careful. You can stop a fight too early. And this isn't just some local bar fight, right? This is for a title. And we're gonna get to that part. I already know what you're gonna say. We're gonna get to that.
Like as soon as you said that, I felt like that hurt in my throat. Like fuck's sake. But okay, it would have been Barroso's opportunity to have a championship title under his name. I get that. But
why is it?
But that doesn't mean that he's a champ, like that he was going to be the top at that division.
It don't matter. I mean, I bet you if you ask Barroso, he don't give no shit. He wants that belt, right? So
it really don't
why
matter.
Is it when it's controversial and it's a bad stoppage, right? If everybody's screaming bad stoppage, I don't know if I can ever say a time where it's against the A side. It is always for the A side. Basically, people don't want a 40-year-old as champion.
I mean, I don't think it was about that. When I kept saying his age was a factor, I was talking about the amount of brutality that this boxer, obviously, physically, you could see he's been through in his career.
But that should not count.
No, but I'm saying, but I'm just talking about when I was talking about the age, I was talking about aged, like brutality, the amount of punishment we could see that this fighter has actually taken. Not just in this fight, but I'm saying cumulatively. I don't care about him being 40 because you got some 45-year-olds that's never been hurt. They've never been in a bad fight. They've never had a tough fight even. And so they're a young 45. This guy looks to be an older 40 type fighter, which means that, most boxing commissions are going to be keeping a tight look at that individual the entire fight anyway. Okay. But, for me, I just have to say fighter safety is important. I know everybody's saying, oh, well, 90% of the people think it was a bad stoppage. Yeah, but out of those 90% of people, how many of them are really into fighter safety and really do research on what concussed individual boxers that continue to keep boxing, what's on the other end of that? And when you get to those numbers, now you start to say, well, probably about 5% of them 90%ers that thought it was a bad stoppage really understand and know the symptoms of what they looking at. When you have an older aged quotation mark age fighter and they aren't looking good since they got dropped early in an earlier round, and then every time you see them in another round when they're getting hit with just a regular jab or a punch and they just stop like they stunned or like something not clicking from the brain down to the body, then you're looking at it when by the time they get to the actual time the stoppage occurred and he drops down on the ropes and his eyes kind of go up. How are we supposed to know that was like because he was pushed or because he was in a... No, it's like several rounds it was allowed to continue. When I started saying like a couple of rounds before that, I was like, damn, I don't like the way he reacting off some of these punches.
I don't know. I
was like not moving. Why was his pupils not like able to go from one side to the other? Like they were fixed and they were just like dilated and everything. These are all symptoms of a fighter that is already concussed, who you want to try to stop these fights before they get to the point where they're in brain surgery afterwards, right? Where you're trying to release pressure from their brain. You're trying to be culpable and responsible, while at the same time you're wanting to allow the fight to continue, as Tony Weeks in his past has allowed to happen countless times.
And I'm with.
He's known for that. So I take it for respect. If you really respect these referees, these veteran referees, and what they do in the ring, I mean, if we're not going to trust what the hell they seeing, then what are they in there for? Let's just have brawls. Let's just not even have referees in there at all. Then, if we're gonna like not trust when they're trying to like say like, hey, I think this is needing to stop right now, because this boxer, first of all, we have to realize he was one of those last minute replacements. And before y'all even chime in, who's viewing this or whatever, I just want to say I did not say at any point that I thought Rolly was winning the fight round by round at that point. This is something that people are like coming after me about. Like I said that Rolly was doing, like he was winning the fight. I understood that he was down on the card, but it also was like the momentum was going into Rolly's favor at the time of the stoppage. You think Rolly was finna just stop being aggressive at that time in the fight when he seen that he had his man kind of out of it and hurt? You think he was about to what you think he was about to try to do? And when you're dealing with an older fighter,
I didn't see him hurt.
Be more careful. You cannot. It's not like Rolly dropped and he's like 20-something years old and he's recovered the direct after round. The next round, you see he's fully recovered. This is not what we saw from this 40-year-old. His balance and everything else was never right after that. Never. After he had his knockdown. So, I mean, this is what I'm saying to people. Like, yeah, everybody can jump on the bandwagon and everybody can try to say, oh, it's wrong. That's not the right. Oh, he was a bad call. It was a bad night. Yeah. Well, how about you trust the fact that a referee like Tony Weeks allows fights to go on all the time. So what would make him obviously stop this fight specifically after he has seen a few rounds of Barroso, who's older, Barroso, not looking good? Like, I have enough respect for him and his career and his profession and all the extra work he's been putting in to learn fighter safety and more things on brain injuries and CTE damage long term, to know that fight was stopped for a reason. And I don't want to hear this BS about conspiracies and corruption and, it's because it was a Mayweather.
Hold on. You don't want to hear that, but that doesn't mean it's not a possibility. I'm not talking about
it's definitely no. Well, if that's the case, then all the rest of his fights in his career that were allowed to continue,
I'm not even
have to call them in question too.
Well,
right?
I'm saying we don't know anything. Right, we don't know.
I'm just saying it's not really a real thing to assume that because a fight was stopped before, you as a fan who don't respect fighter safety and keeping these boxers safe, if you as a fan, you got a problem with when this fight was stopped, like just because of that, now all of a sudden he's corrupt and he's like, taking a take to make a fighter win. Like, no, that's not how it works.
I think everything is so questionable.
Show me other examples of this being happening instead of showing me all of Tony Weeks' accolades, all of his times where he allowed fights to continue. If you can't show me a pattern, then no, I'm not going to accept it. And I don't think it's real.
Well,
it was stopped for one reason.
Explain why everything was questionable up to that point, though. Because another good question in this is the knockdown, the knockdown that was a push. Do you think that weighed into some of Tony Weeks' decision because he felt like the fighter was already hurt by a knockdown that really didn't happen?
That could definitely play a part into it too. But I think corruption is so easy to run to for all of anybody who watches boxing, just because of, just take a look at the sport anywhere you go. Like, everybody's got their hand in the cookie jar, right? And I am not saying that Tony Weeks is on the take. I'm not saying that. But I'm also saying I don't know. I don't know shit about nobody. I don't know any of these people personally, right? Everybody's corrupt. I would be corrupt because they can offer me money that I can't take, right? So Mayweather, right, can sit here and offer me, a couple million to write some fluff piece or whatever and tell lies. Am I going to be able to turn down $2 million? Hell no, I'm not going to be able to turn down $2 million. And again, I'm not saying anybody's on the take. What I'm saying is you can't outrule anything. And it was very odd, the time of the stoppage. Now, I'm not, again, it's because also the timing, right? I think if you let it go a little bit later, or even on a break, right? If they separated, or if he called time, had the doctor look at him, something else. But you are in the middle of exchanging, in which case Barroso actually landed a pretty nice hook to Romero. And then you're calling the fight right after that. And nobody there can see that. Now, I have watched a lot of boxing. I admit that, yeah, I'm no ref. I'm no medic. I don't know. And 90% of the people watching that are not, right? None of us have a doctorate. But at the same time, I think we know enough by watching some of these fights. I am unfortunate enough to actually watch someone die in the ring. I don't ever want to see that again. So, yes, I do like to see err on caution, but the ref has to be well-versed in when to stop it. Otherwise, I mean, somebody could just come out, land one solid, really good left hook. The guy's stumbling all over the ring, and they're just going to wave it off immediately. We can't do that, right? This is a championship fight. This is not local fighters in a pub, right, that we're just bored and we're watching. Yeah, obviously you stop that shit. This is different. This is championship level. You can't stop it like that, especially in an exchange where fighters are actually throwing at one another. It is not one-sided. That fight was never a beatdown in any single way. Danny Santiago, he knows who signs the checks. He lives in Vegas. They live in Vegas. The winner fights.
No. We're not gonna do that. Tony Weeks, if you're watching,
I'm gonna say one thing about this, okay? If after all of this, Romero and Ryan Garcia get signed, that conspiracy theory goes way, way up.
You're throwing away a relationship that we have, Lucas.
I'm not throwing away any relationship.
I mean, I don't think he's throwing away a relationship. I just think it's garbage to just say, do you know how many fights are in Vegas, first of all? That's a whole lot of fights that would be thrown because they were in Vegas. Like, literally. I mean, like, it's like, come on now.
I don't get the
like I said,
Vegas
if you respect your referees and you respect when he allowed, the Corrales fights and the Badu Jax fight, if you respect all that, then you need to respect when he stops a fight, because you don't see the angle and you don't see the close-up views of these boxers like a ref does in the ring. And on top of that, sometimes we have to remember we have a better view of the action than the actual ref does, because the camera is allowed to get right in front, and then they're off to the side. They're actually trying to stay out of the way of the broadcast cameras, right? So we as viewers get the better view sometimes. So it's not a question of like, hey, this is terrible, and like everybody has to be totally right or wrong. It has to be that we have to accept the fact that sometimes we as viewers have more of a view than the actual referees have. Now, I mean, and that's just how it is.
The camera, I understand what you mean with the camera angle and all that.
Yeah, the camera was right in front of the two of them, right? Giving us, like during the actual last exchange, we were looking at a total front view of them two on the ropes. Tony Weeks was behind Rolly from the side view. So we as the fans,
is that not Tony Weeks' job though, to be able to get to the good view? That's what his job is. But at the same
time, it don't always happen. Let's think, this is real live TV. This is a live fight. It's not going to always be the case that they can just be right there. But also from that view, it looked like Barroso had actually fell. It looked like he had, kind of bent down on the ropes, and it saved him. It wasn't until later when they did the replay that we actually saw, like, oh, well, I see what happens.
Okay, so time now. Okay, do you not think, as a ref, if he calls and stops a fight off of a push, not even a punch, do you not think that's a bad stoppage?
It was a mistake.
Simple question.
Okay,
that's that question, though. Hold on. That's the
if it was a push and he knew it was a push, then obviously that's egregious. But if he doesn't think it's a push and he actually thinks that a 40-aged fighter has fallen back on the ropes after his eyes was already looking like a little dazed, guys, that's not wrong.
I don't know. I didn't see the days. I would be more than happy for you guys to show me what you're talking about. Let's do some.
You know who I blame?
I don't know. Who you blame?
You know who I blame for this?
Who you blame?
Romero. Okay. That's who you blame.
Yes, because he wasn't even supposed to be in that fight.
He's not supposed to. Look, the guy was 40 years old. I'm 43. This dude looked way worse off than I do. I could have fought that night and looked better than Barroso.
And Romero too. And Rolly, I mean, it's like how you're number 5 ranked and you got that title shot. And when Jim Gray, bless his heart, when he asked him, why you think you got this title shot? And he was just like, oh, I get all the shots. I get, like he didn't even have a great answer for why he was given that title shot. Then you got the main champion for the whole division in a recess, a champion in recess status. So you're not even fighting the real champion for the title. I mean, it's just so many things that was. I mean, they had Kenneth Sims Jr. down at number 10 ranked.
Yeah, the rankings don't make no damn sense.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, it's a title fight because you get a title, but are you really like? Was it really a title shot? Like the actual boxer that Rolly was supposed to fight wasn't even able to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like the actual champion wasn't able to fight. This is how Barroso was given that slot.
No,
it's just a last minute type.
It's not just that he wasn't able. He tested positive for PEDs.
Yeah.
Well, yes, that's very true. I didn't want to get into that because then, like, now we done talked all the topics. How can you be given a champion at recess status when you just, pop on some ped tests? You should have been stripped, in my opinion.
See what I mean? Like every aspect, everything's so questionable in
the
this
whole
sport.
thing is corrupt. According to Lucas,
it's
look.
correct.
Olympics is being banned. Is this not enough for you guys? 2028.
Not Olympic boxing. No more boxing. This is professional boxing.
Where do you think it stems from, man? This is the peak of amateurs. You're saying the peak of amateurs is so corrupt. What the fuck do you think professionals are? That's when you start to get paid. You don't get paid at amateur level. That's why you're an amateur. As soon as you get paid, you're a professional. Of course, it's going to be more corrupt. Look, I'm going to go back to one more thing about,
they don't get paid,
about the stoppage.
But the countries do.
What?
Well, yeah, right.
In Olympics, they don't get paid. The
you're talking about who hosts it. Is that what you mean?
No.
Who hosts it? The organization itself,
all the endorsements, the sponsorships,
everything.
I was gonna say the number one guy, he don't get paid shit though, is what I'm talking about.
Not
they
the
get gold medal, and hopefully they get some commercials out of it. Like that's the most you can hope for with that.
The last thing I'm gonna say about the stoppage, we can go on to why the hell this was even done, but I think Jim Gray even made it worse because he said out loud that the Nevada State Athletic Commission refused, and so did Tony Weeks. Now, I've seen Tony Weeks talk about stoppages after they've happened. I've seen other referees explain, even when they're bad stoppages, explain like, hey, I saw him hurt. His eyes kind of went up. Any explanation, I think, would have helped ease this situation. But Jim Gray fucking poured gasoline on that fire and then fucking threw a match on that shit.
I mean, he did his job, which he was supposed to try to get the interview.
And I appreciate it. And this is what makes me think even worse is because the commentary is usually, kissing the A-side's ass anyway. And they were all like, what? Why was this stopped? Everybody was kind of in shock.
I mean, Showtime is pretty. Their commentators are pretty honest. Like they usually, like they when they see something bad happen or they consider a bad decision, they say something usually. But I felt like, what in the hell would be the point of Tony Weeks getting up there and saying anything when we've seen in the past referees that got up there and tried to explain themselves, and it still wasn't good enough. It still, the answer was booed and all this kind of stuff. It's like there was nothing that he was going to be able to say that night that would have been obviously used against him. I wouldn't have got up there either.
Well, you're going to get booed. I mean, that's that no matter what. If they're upset with that stoppage, you're going to get booed, right?
So however, any interviews,
I think it still would have at least eased the blow. You know, it would have put some water on the fire that Jim Gray. No,
because people still don't trust you. I just want to say one thing, and this is across the board with a lot of referees. Like, they dedicate their lives and sacrifice their time. Most of them, before they even hit, you know, they have a whole amateur referee career that they have to do for free before they get to the professional boxing commission level. And it's horrible when you have, let's say he had a terrible night. It was like a bad night for him. Okay. One fight, and they can try to destroy everything that you've ever done in your career as a referee. We've seen it. That is just totally not cool.
Who's trying to destroy
that's the culture.
I don't think anybody's really trying to destroy him. Now we're
no. They've been some posts where they say that he should be banned for life. Like he should never referee again. Like, I've seen those posts. Like, no, they are going after him. Like
you can't ban a man that's, I mean, pretty much going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. But what my question?
Saying, like, people need to think about what they. My point is not just with Tony Weeks. I'm just saying in general. Like, you know, your ass ain't about to go and volunteer and run across states doing amateur referees just to hone in on your skill before you even start your boxing, you know, your state professional referee career. And it's like these people are willing to come out of their mouth with the most, you know, tear down scenarios, which they do it with the boxers too, right? Our American fans are horrible when it comes to this type of thing. But I just feel like they should have a little bit more respect for the type of work that it has. Like, when you're on your job and you fuck up royally, everybody just gives you a damn write-up, right? You get a write-up, and then, you know, you got 3 more times or however many times within a 2-year period before you're asked to leave. But you want a referee to have to be like totally strike from all boxing with one decision that you didn't like.
But eventually you are fired if you keep fucking up. The problem is Nevada State Athletic Commission does not get rid of people, these judges that are scoring things that are blatantly incorrect. Well, I'm talking about the draw with Canelo, right? And I'm talking about the draw with Canelo and Floyd Mayweather, and then the person that had the same person had him above Golovkin in the first fight, right? This is stuff that needs to be investigated and is never investigated. Nothing's ever done. And this is why boxing is always going to be questioned, is because there is no repercussion for anything. Time,
you haven't seen Adelaide Byrd as a main card type judge in a long time, have you?
No, but she's still making money. She's still in the sport.
Right, she can still be effective. You still give them opportunity to continue to learn this stuff.
You don't have to. You should not be learning in championship fights. You should not be learning in the.
She hadn't been in none.
She is in some. She was in some. But
she's not in anything major like a Canelo fight anymore,
should be fired.
You know, whatever.
You're not just.
Well, no, they try to make these incidents. They try to make them teachable moments. You don't want to throw away, like I said, somebody's entire career over one bad night where they could have.
You just made that. You just made that connection with a regular 9 to 5, right? It's the same shit. You had more than one bad night. All right, you have a consistency of bad cards and bad scorecards.
You saying she had?
I only am naming 2.
You
There's
said
a lot more than
nights. 2. You get like 5 write-ups at your job. No, like, come on now.
That depends. That depends on the job. But
Well, I'm just
here we
saying,
go.
you get a lot of write-ups. You can have a lot of write-ups in 1 year. You
How
can.
does any ref let the fight go with a highway of a cut on his forehead? The ref, timekeeper, opponent, corner man, the 100 people. The first round had blood on them. He let the fight go on. Reason, fighter, promoter.
Exactly. He allowed the fight go on. Right. Exactly, Danny. He let the fight go on. So obviously, I mean, if that was a Mayweather fighter at that time, wasn't it, Lucas? Wasn't Badu Jack a Mayweather fighter?
Oh, I'm sure it was.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, he wanted him to stop it, or he wanted it to allow it to go on. Like, that one doesn't really connect to me.
That I'm going to give Danny a plus and a minus here. Okay, he's plus because he's saying he allowed it to go on because it's TMT fighter, right? You see that? That's what he's saying.
But he would have won that fight had he stopped it at the time that he had the headbutt.
But they didn't know that. Right?
Who didn't know that?
But Danny, I do got to say there's a difference between blood loss and concussion, right? There's a difference between blood loss and possibly in a coma, okay? Very different things. Why blood may look bad, it's not that damaging long term. Sometimes you get scarred up, but that's not bad
right.
Thing.
And they usually stop it. Like if the blood loss has to be significant, it's usually they more concerned when it's a smaller person. You know what I'm saying? When they can't afford to lose as much volume of blood as somebody that's like a light heavyweight. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just bleeding. It wasn't in his eyes. So that's the main thing they stop a cut for, is if it's over their eyes and they can't see. It's not to do with the actual volume of blood.
For sure. And yeah, let's just go back to why the fuck was Romero and Barroso even fighting for a title? Because no, I don't think anybody knows the answer to this goddamn question. One, they're coming off losses, right? The last time we saw Romero, he lost. Why are you fighting for a title? You should have to have a winning streak to fight for a title, but I guess that just doesn't matter in boxing. It's all a joke. It's whoever you want to put at the top, right? And we've seen this with Barroso. All of a sudden, he moved up, as we were talking about in the rankings, right? How many times have you seen a Mayweather fighter, as soon as it gets signed, they just shoot right up that list? Same with Pacquiao. As soon as that fight gets signed, they shoot right up that list. He's fighting the number one contender. No, the fuck he ain't. He's fighting like number 28. Let's be real. Let's be real, okay? This is the shit that goes on in boxing. And honestly, I did see a bad stoppage, but either way, I'm at least able to move past that. It's just one thing after another with boxing. I really hope. Oh, shit was a bad too. Yes. Okay. Gotcha. But
you have to remember that Danny is a contender, baby. So he's all about letting him continue to fight no matter what the damn happens. Okay. So you just have to remember that that's that fighter mentality that everybody loves to see.
But and that's what we've discussed before on the show. I think it was just a couple weeks ago with Javi, and we were talking about, it's a have at you type thing. Some people are very more macho about it. Other nuanced people are more like, hey, he's taking too much damage. Stop it early.
Machizo. Like the whole point is to stop it before you get to the point where you need to be, rushed to the hospital and have pressure relief from your brain. And then it's days of everybody praying and hoping that they're able to function when they wake up. And that's not always the scenario. They don't.
Well, let me just say this.
You gotta be careful.
To fix all of this, Tony Weeks, please next time, just give him a standing 8. Can we do that? Can you just give him a standing 8? That would absolve any wrongdoings. You would award him a knockdown to give him a rest. I think all that is fair.
Emilio said the same thing. He said
go back to standing 8.
Yeah, Emilio was saying that a standing 8 in Vegas is allowed. So try that first. But I think to me, it was a few rounds where he wasn't quite looking like he was taking those punches the way you should be. Not if it's not even a real hook or like a real power shot. He shouldn't have been having the reactions we saw.
First of all, fat CJ Hooker. Facts.
What's
Yeah.
Rolly Ramirez is delusional. That was the issue in this whole fight. They were trying to at least bring the kid up and see what he could do against a different fighter. That fight could not happen because the other fighter was subjected to a positive test for PEDs. So
Right.
that's saying something there. But Romero, this was his chance to come out and earn a stoppage and earn it the right way. He didn't do that. So I agree. That's number one. Number two, that was number one.
Well, you were gonna say how he earned, like for him to either be given a rematch with Barroso, or could he possibly, like, I tell you what, I feel like he should have to go through Kenneth Sims Jr. if he want to move forward with a Ryan Garcia fight. Because to me, that's who's earned the Ryan Garcia fight to me. Based on that card we saw, and based on the number of consecutive wins he's had, based on the fact that he's got a WBC Intercontinental title right now. So to me, I'm like, that's the guy that you should have to get through if you want to have a Ryan Garcia fight.
Yeah, but again, I think like what CJ Hooker is saying here, we're really wasting too much time on Raleigh because Raleigh had his chance and he improved. He did not prove it. So to me, that's the big takeaway of this fight. And that's something.
Well, sometimes you get in there with, like last minute replacement syndrome, Lucas, right? that last minute replacement be hellified worse than what you was about to get in the ring with. And I feel like, Rolly was definitely a victim of that. But also, you can't just judge a book by its cover. I mean, Barroso was known for power, and he hit him with some power early. And then from there, he was scared that he was going to feel that power again. So that made him a little bit more timid through the beginning half of the fight, I believe. And so that came into play. But like I said, the momentum was shifting in that fight to where, Barroso was starting to look spent. He had that drop, that knockdown. And then after that, he was, looking like he was starting to get systematically broke down, as Emmanuel Stewart says. So, I mean, it's still no guarantee that Barroso would have won that fight and been able to stay alive all the rest of those rounds, because I think it would have been worse for him had that fight been allowed to continue.
Maybe.
Rolly start getting kinder when he starts seeing that this man is slowing down and he's a little, off kilter a little bit. He wasn't about to just give up.
Well, now I remember what I was gonna say.
Damn, Daddy done wrote a book. Santiago, you need to save this for your show tomorrow night.
So my question is, if the standing 8 count is not allowed, though, why couldn't he be able to go to the doctor? At least he could have called a timeout and
he still could have called
the doctor check him out.
Unfortunately, these doctors are like, now they the ones that's really got me pissed off. Like in previous fights, when it comes to these doctors, they've been like useless.
But
like I don't want to say every last one of them, but 9 times out of 10, they be like, yeah, he's good. Have you ever seen them like wipe somebody's eyebrow, like, and they're like, yeah, okay, good.
But that
I can see the bone. You're good.
That at least saves weeks. Is all I'm saying.
Exactly.
Weeks.
Exactly. That's a good point, Rob.
That we need to talk about on that, because that wouldn't even be talked about if this bad stoppage happened. The only thing people would be saying is Rolly Romero ain't shit.
I agree. Let's end that talk with the fact that let's let everybody do their thing. Refs need to ref, doctors need to be the doctor. The timekeeper needs to be the one counting. That's why the ref needs to be looking at him to count. The ref has to rely on other people too. Okay, let's not forget that. Let's hope that continues to be the case.
It's supposed to be a team effort for sure.
It really is.
Unfortunately, it didn't work for the Morrell Jr. fight, because that was one of those fights where the doctor was asked and the team was looked at like, don't y'all want to stop this? And they never did, So we have to realize that these fail safes are not being safe.
Hey, then those people need to be held accountable, not the ref, right? So
well,
that
everybody needs to go with the training. Everybody needs the teams in the corners. Everybody that's involved in the actual ring fight, they all need to go through the training.
I agree and disagree to a certain extent. I mean, unless there's clear signs of concussions. I mean, but you can't expect a boxing trainer to know.
No, I can't expect them to stop draining these fighters before we even get to.
Oh, well, that's a different conversation altogether.
No, it's the same conversation, because that is a part of fighter safety. Is the fact that if you're not, you have 48 hours for your fluid to get back into your brain, the proper amount. After you've drained yourself for a weigh-in, you don't have 48 hours really. So stop draining these fighters. That's something that corners need to know about, because they're the ones in the gyms with these guys, and then these hard training camps right before the week before a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you can't do that when you know that they about to possibly get even more concussed during the fight. There's a lot of things that they need to be up on the game about that's available now that weren't available 20 years ago.
I think most know that. I just don't think
they don't. Care. No.
I think a lot just don't
You're
care.
Giving them way too much credit. You're doing way too much. No.
Well, I would like to go back to same day weigh-ins, but I don't think that's a possibility anymore either. Let's move on here.
Why do you like same day weigh-ins though?
Huh?
Why are you a proponent for same day weigh-ins? Like, what's your reason?
Well, besides safety, right? You get less of the weight bullying. There's a lot more fair fights going on. Competition would be that much stricter. Canelo wouldn't have been fighting at 155 for 4 fucking years, right? I mean, he wouldn't be draining himself down and blowing back up. We wouldn't be seeing that. We wouldn't be seeing all these weight bullies, David Benavidez and all this other stuff. We wouldn't see any of that. We would actually see them fight the people and see them for what they really are. Not, oh, these are spectacular knockout artists. Dude, you just knocked out a 140-pound fighter and you were like 182. You are not a knockout artist. But
I know you don't like catch weight, so
yeah, let's move on though, because that could be an all-day thing. You don't want to get me started on that. Let's talk Cameron Taylor.
Yes.
I mean, just everyone.
Yes.
I mean, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it. You just shocked me because you skipped over that Bartholomew. I don't know what kind of fight that was.
Yeah, that was just meh. That's why I skipped over.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of shocked me. But yeah, for Katie Taylor and Cameron, I'm feeling this fight. You know, it's going to be an undisputed status too. And we saw how good Cameron looked against. Oh shoot, I forgot her name just that fast. Jessica McCaskill. I mean, she looked incredible against her. So, this may be a real test of a fight for Taylor, because she has a kind of in-your-face type style, similar to Jessica McCaskill, but with more skill level. So, I think that this is a great matchup, and I guess it's going to be the sleeper fight for the weekend, right? Because it's going to be a lot of boxing fans that's going to miss out on it because it's going to be on earlier, and because it's females. But this is a type of fight that is very competitive in my mind.
It's going to be competitive. It's going to be momentous because it's in Dublin.
Yeah, and it's a homecoming fight in Ireland for sure. Never fought in Ireland as a professional before, guys. I mean, wow.
I mean, I really just want to see a good fight, but I would be lying to say I don't want to see Taylor win just so that we can see another Serrano fight. I want to see that rematch. That's obvious fight of the year from last year. And it could definitely be fight of the year for 2023 as well. I'm with it. Let's see. CJ Hooker says Katie needs to win in order to. They've literally just said I was typing. All right. So we agree there, CJ.
No, I disagree.
I mean, obviously it can be made regardless, right?
Katie won the first fight.
Did she though?
Katie
Yeah,
Did she
did
though?
she? I really
Did
felt
she?
like Serrano won that first fight.
She won. Katie
Me
won
too.
the first fight.
Me too.
I mean, but I don't
what
even
the
think.
judges
I think this is
said.
for Cameron's
That's
undisputed.
what counts. People,
I think this is.
that's what counts. That fight is going to happen regardless. I'm watching this fight very, very much with very much excitement. I'm watching this fight Saturday before everything else because this one sets the tone. The fight with Serrano last year set the tone, and to me, the rest of the fight cards disappointed. To the Saturday night, we have a major fight on the cards that night. So this fight is major. It sets the tone, and you talk about the atmosphere that you're gonna feed off of when you see that crowd in Dublin. When you see that crowd going crazy in Dublin. And guess what? Katie Taylor is a Dublin Irish style fighter. Because this fight, she can also be losing. This fight, she can also be down and have to scrap and come up and be victorious. Katie Taylor is tough as hell. Tough, one of the toughest women in the sport today. Even tougher, in my opinion, than Clarissa Shields. I'm talking about toughness. I'm not talking about talent. But she's tough as hell. This fight right here is going to set the tone for Saturday, and I can't wait to watch it.
CJ agrees with Lucas and I.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what he agrees with. The only thing that counts, people, is what's official. And it's officially on her record. She won that fight.
But I really don't think it'll stop a Serrano rematch for Katie because it's at a different weight class. This fight is at a different weight class. I think it's Cameron's undisputed titles that are on the line at her division.
It is.
Yeah. So
God, this is a monumental fight. It is. Yeah. It's a monumental fight for not just what's at stake, where they're fighting at, and the show that they're going to put on.
And you also have a co-main that's another woman fight as well. We got Terry Harper versus Cecilia Brackhouse.
My girl, Miss Lady Brackhouse. You want my phone number? Get it after the show. I'll give it to you.
First lady. It's first lady. But either way, first lady. All you care about is fine lady. That's what you care about. I want to see what Cecilia looks like now, and I think that her Kate Harper, she's a good candidate for us to see how she looks as well. So I think it's a pretty even, type of fight for these two ladies. Other than the fact, like it's not even when we talk about age, Cecilia, first lady, being older, but I mean Harper, she's definitely on the comeback. And Cecilia, she's got to have this win as well. So that means that we'll be looking at, some hellified women fights for to see who moves forward in their career and who needs to retire.
Definitely agree there. Let's move on again. We gotta jump. We spent way too long with the stoppage. That was my fault. I should have moved on a little sooner.
I know. I told you, but
I know. Anyway. I tried, but it just kept coming back.
I had about a 10-minute rant. So
no. We were both into that. You can't take all responsibility. That was me too.
Right here. This is
Checkmate. I don't say it often. I'll probably buy this pay-per-view. I don't buy a lot, but this one I buy. It's a good fight, right? I mean, honestly, you're looking at whoever wins this, potentially fighting Tank. I mean, it sets up a really good.
I don't believe this. I'm sorry, I can't listen to nothing else you're saying.
Hey, look, 2023 could be the
year. The pay-per-view. Rob, what are we hearing?
There's a discount involved, people. Don't believe the hype. There's a discount involved.
Okay, it may be a discounted vibe, but he still never wants to pay. Period.
That's true.
I'll kill two birds with one stone here. and kind of do two topics into one. Because I actually looked at the night and I was kind of bummed a little bit about even the $59.99 price tag because it is on a app. So
Mhm.
if you don't have the subscription, but from what I'm seeing, you don't necessarily have to buy a subscription for this one. They're allowing you to purchase it through other cable providers just as a standalone $59.99. That being said, the undercard isn't great, but it isn't bad because you get to see Oscar Valdez in action. And he's one of those top rated fighters that we need to see more of. So I'm excited to see more of him. You also have a fight against two unknowns that are
Right.
battling out in the opener, but it's an opener. Not a lot of people are going to be tuning in 100% to that one anyway. That's the main pay-per-view. That's what you're paying the $59.99 for, people. But
Okay.
tune into ESPN Plus before that because you have Nico Ali Walsh, the grandson of Ali, on free on a free fight, and he's always exciting to see. But you get a fight that and I don't say this often because I hate the lower weights.
That's
But you
true.
actually get a fight that I'm excited to see in Maloney versus Nakatani. Nakatani can bring it. Maloney can fight. That's going to be a good headliner moving into the main pay-per-view. It actually was, I thought, going to be on the main pay-per-view, but they decided to scrap it and do it this way. But it's going to be a great day and night of boxing. This card is
I
excitement, and the main event to me is going to be 150 times better than Ryan Garcia versus Tank Davis.
You got to agree there. It is appropriate name checkmate. This is going to be a chess match for sure. Now, Rob, I did agree with most, but you said you get to see Oscar Valdez. Yeah, you do, but what kind of opposition are we getting here? I mean, this is a setup win for Oscar Valdez, looks like.
Yeah,
But he's
but
got
he's
to
coming.
get back in
Yeah,
action from his,
he's got to.
injury.
Right. It's a stay busy, right? It's a let's see how he's doing type fight.
Yeah, it's test the injury.
See if he is who he says he is, right? Let's see.
I mean, you guys did
Haney
a whole
by
lot
you.
more research than I did. I didn't know who I was on the. I'm just so excited about the main event. I mean, I just wasn't even into who else was going to be on these cards. But I do like Nico. I think he's very much improved. In the last year, we saw some major improvements with, some of the skill level he's picking up. And I'm always a fan of Oscar, unless he's fighting Shakur. And and so these are just all pluses when it comes to watching a main event.
Definitely agree there. I like Nico, but I just don't. They use the Ali name a little too much. It's like, we get it. You said it once already, but they just like keep throwing it in there. It's a top rank thing. I'm not blaming him for it. That's top rank. That's that promotion. And they're trying to get the money. I mean, I get it. They're trying to build the name. They got to do what they got to do. But I'm just already over it myself.
You're right. I mean, we can't blame Nico for that specifically.
Right.
They got to market him however they can. But that Maloney, I thought Maloney, his brother actually just won a championship at featherweight.
His brother did win, but I can't remember the weight.
On the Genabet card, he just won a championship. So
he did, but I can't.
To him,
can't place it.
So let's see if his brother can follow suit.
All right, CJ says Haney by unanimous decision. This will be a tactical snooze fest. Haney jab, 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 and Loma trying to get inside to counter. He says snooze fest, and it's a snooze fest for people who do not like boxing. For people who like Rock'em Sock'em Robots, you will be very, very bored. This is going to be a tactical snooze fest, as he said, but for the people who like boxing, it is going to be very interesting. I don't know, guys. Are you agreeing with CJ? You think Haney's going to be able to keep him off and win that unanimous decision? Because it's reading like CJ thinks he's going to be able to keep him at bay with the jab, and I don't know. I think Loma's going to be able to counter off that pretty easily.
You know what? I hope he doesn't do that, because that's not helpful for his career. If he does come out and do some pretty standard, boring type fighting,
but he's got to win.
I think he needs for it to be exciting. So maybe he takes chances like Kenneth Sims Jr. did. But what I'm thinking is, I don't think it's necessarily going to be that way, because I think everybody is on to the jab, 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 jab. I think that he tries to mix it up a little bit more in this fight, and he'll need to if he expects Loma to respect him. I mean, because he knows how to slip a jab. It's not going to be like no Cambosis in front of him that just keeps ramming his head right into jabs. Oh, no. It's going to be a situation where Lomachenko knows how to get in. Now, the only thing we have to watch out for him is if he's going to be timid in the beginning rounds, or if he's really going to, try to make some things happen in this fight. He says he is. So I'm looking forward to this fight. I think it's going to be more exciting than just that.
Okay.
We get a prediction?
Oh, I didn't know we was to the predictions yet. Yeah, I have to go. I have to go with Lomachenko. I could just see a body punch from Lomachenko. I could just see a punch that Haney doesn't see, because although Lomachenko doesn't move around as much as he used to, he still got some tricks up his sleeves, and he still is quick with his hands. So yeah, I got. It's hard to bet against Lomachenko. Haney is the younger guy out of the two, but that also means that Lomachenko has more experience at this level than Haney does. So and also Lomachenko knows this is his last hurrah at 135. Really, like he's want to go out with a bang.
Yeah, it took the words out of my mouth right there. He's aging. He's not an old man yet. He's 35, but in boxing, he knows his time is limited, just like you said, right? Mm-hmm. So he's going to throw caution to the wind here. I don't really think he's going to play it safe like he did in the beginning of the T.O. fight, and really worry about T.O.'s power. I don't really think he's worrying about Haney's power whatsoever. I mean, I'm not saying Haney doesn't have some. I just don't think it'll be enough for Loma to really worry about it too much. And I could definitely see him turning him, but again, he's going to have to get inside. This is really going to be young versus old. I mean, just like you said, because Loma, he can't move like he used to. So he's going to have to make up for it. He's going to have to set traps and, try to counter that jab, just like CJ's saying. He's going to come in. Haney's got a jab, right? And he does jab, as he said. But I think he's going to be able to counter. The problem is, can he still turn him? And I think right now he can. And once he hits Haney whatsoever, he's throwing caution to the wind. I mean, Loma wants these undisputed titles. He's been asking for these shots, and he hasn't been able to get them. Now they're already collected for him, right? The Infinity Stones are already there. He has the fight signed, right? So I don't think anybody really studies fighters like Lomachenko does. He always comes in prepared. He knows exactly what Haney has to offer. CJ, if Loma wins, do y'all really want to see him get hurt against Tank? I think he better retire after this fight. I think he's maybe one of the few that can actually give Tank a decent fight.
I actually do want to see it too, CJ. I think that's the fight that we wanted to see 2 or 3 years ago, actually. But also, why not see it? Why not have Lomachenko go out with 135 at the 135 division with a nice looking paycheck? If I'm him, I definitely would want to go after that. I definitely wouldn't want to leave a fight like that that's life-changing money on the table and then go down to 126? Okay. 130. and then 126. You don't want to see that before if he can fight a Davis, you know, and he has the possibility of getting knocked out by any opponent. That's the nature of boxing, is that in any given day, somebody can get it. They can get knocked out. Like, so I want to get knocked out for the most money.
And this fight, we're going to find out something for sure. Was Kambosos able to get in?
Yeah.
Or was he allowing him in?
Right.
Which one do you think it is? Because I think it's a little bit of both. But he did try to make, I think, the second fight a little bit more entertaining. But regardless, I don't want to speak badly upon Kambosos. He's a good fighter, but I don't think skill-wise he's even in the league of Lomachenko. I think Loma would have made him look even worse than what Haney did. So I don't know. I'm eager to see this fight, and y'all ain't going to like my prediction, though, because I honestly don't think either one's winning. I think this is a draw. I think it is a very close fight. I do not think anyone's coming out a winner. I don't think anybody's damn sure not getting knocked out or stopped. I think this is a draw. If I have to lean one way, because I don't like to predict draws, and I don't like our fans to have to listen to a draw prediction, I'm going to lean 1 point towards Loma.
Okay.
Very close fight. Maybe not even unanimous. Maybe a majority decision for Loma. But Rob,
if we get a draw, who's going to call that a fix?
Oh, there's some.
All right, listen up here, people. Let me break it down.
Oh, boy.
I feel like in terms of Devin Haney, people look up in the boxing dictionary the word master class boxer.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up in the boxing dictionary. I think Devin Haney is that. I think he is a master class boxer, and people don't give him enough credit. Like CJ Hooker sitting here saying, you call it a snooze fest. You've been calling Mayweather a snooze fest, and he's been laughing at your ass all the way to the bank, year after year. Devin Haney is a master class boxer. When he's gonna go in there, he's gonna throw the jab with intent. He's gonna try to outbox Lomachenko. He's gonna try to outclass Lomachenko. He knows what he's doing in the ring. Him and his trainer prepare very, very hard for each and every fight strategically. Like Shakur said, he knows when he can turn it on, and he knows when he needs to shut it down. Okay? So Devin Haney is a great boxer. He unfortunately, Kambosos really didn't have much to show us to prove that. Lomachenko does. Lomo is able to show us enough to prove how great of a boxer Devin Haney is. Because what CJ Hooker mentioned in an earlier comment was the fact that Haney will jab his way to a victory. You're not going to do that against Lomachenko. You're underestimating his power, his ability to counter. And he's able to do that very well by setting the feet, by setting traps, by doing the things that he's been doing his whole career. Lomachenko also is a great, talented fighter as well. So you really have a masterclass boxer going up against a great, talented fighter who, as you guys both mentioned, is do or die mode for Lomachenko. He has to be able to prove to everyone, not just everyone, himself, that he is the greatest fighter that he once was. He can take all of it back that night. With that being said, this is going to be a chess match, and it's going to be a great match for all of boxing enthusiasts, because we know what it takes to be at this level. We know what it takes to show you're at this level, and nobody's done it yet. Both of these guys will do it on Saturday night. That being said...
Who you got?
That being said... Lomachenko wins this fight. Lomachenko wins this fight by KO.
I'm surprised. I didn't think
Me
we would
too.
all unanimously pick Lomachenko. I really did not.
I'm shocked that Rob specifically chose Lomachenko because you've been talking shit about Lomachenko for a few years prior to this.
Oh, a long time.
Disclaimer. If he proves me wrong this time, I won't even bother showing up next Tuesday.
Oh no, buddy. You done chose him now. Now you need to make sure you show up, regardless of the outcome. I mean, I like what you said there. I just my only caveat is that Haney does have a great 1-2 that he'll stick out there a few times. But he might get in a little trouble going when he goes in and out a lot. I don't know if he's gonna try that with Lomachenko though, because he knows he has a high tech type IQ too. So I mean, but my thing is that I think that Devin Haney, his competitors up to this point don't equal up to the knowledge that a Lomachenko has. Like when you gather all of his opponents and they just don't even equal up to one Lomachenko. So I think this is his stiffest competition yet. Is he ready for that? I don't know.
So Haney minus 260, Loma plus 200. So Haney is the Vegas favorite, and we all picked the underdog.
Because let's be honest, they want to see Haney versus Tank. They want that black on black crime. Okay.
I mean, that's not a reason to say to me, I think it's more like wait until fight day. And then everybody's going to be like, the numbers going to start getting closer and closer and closer on bet day. I just think that, it's a Vegas town and that's Haney's town. So right now it's like, the betting odds are going to be in his favor. But later, the weigh in and the day of, then we're going to start seeing Lomachenko's, crowd start betting more. So I just feel like it's going to be a wash by the time the fight night happens.
If you like what we were talking about earlier with the Canelo and the weight bully, we definitely have an article in the works. So definitely follow us at Heavy Bag Boxing on all of our social media, heavybagboxing.com. Check out for all your latest boxing news. And hang on. If Lomachenko doesn't get hit like Norris did, it's over. I picked Haney. You picked Haney, CJ. Just remember that for next week. But yeah, next week, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Thank you, and we'll see you again next week.